What's going on, everyone? It's Tony with Wicked Artistry Candico. Look, today we're going to get into it, man. We have to, because this is one of those videos that we need to discuss. So, with everybody out there either still in a pandemic phase or trying to come out of the pandemic phase, most of us have been doing a lot of candle making. Now, if you're new to candle making, this video is definitely for you. If you're not new to candle making, this video is still definitely for you, because if I had known these 5 tips before, there's a lot of time, a lot of money that could have been saved. So, with no further ado, let's get into it. All right. So, basically, what we're going to talk about is if you're trying to get a candle in your line to have a strong scent, there's 5 things that you definitely need to look for when it comes to getting a stronger smelling candle in your fragrance line. Without it, let's talk about it. Tip 1, you definitely have to understand this. Wax, wicks, and vessels all go together. Now, when you're talking wax, you need to know, and tip 1 is this, you need to know the melt point. The melt point is basically at what point can you pour your wax into your fragrance. So, a lot of waxes come in at a lot of melt points for waxes, such as soy is, 185, somewhere around there. Anywhere between 125, 185 for some of your waxes, because you have soy wax, you have apricot, cocoa wax, you have virgin coconut, you have soy bis, you have joy wax, you have all of these waxes, you have paraffin waxes. Each one of these has a different melt point. All right, now, generally if you melt your wax at 185, then what you need to do is let it cool down to 175. Preferably that's what I like to do, let mine cool down to 175. And then I will pour my wax in. My fragrance oil in. That way, I get a good blend. It's not too hot, not too cold, not too damaging. Situations like that. So that's definitely tip number 1. Okay. Now, since we're talking fragrance oil, tip number 2 is you need to know your fragrance oils. So, what does it mean by knowing your fragrance oils? All right. So, if you are going on any site, and throughout this video, I'm giving you sites that you can look at, more tips that you can listen to. If you go to sites like Candle Science, Wooden Wick, Flaming Candle, Pro Candle Supply, Lone Star Candle Company, 1617, and purchase wax from these companies. Flaming Candle, Candle Science, Nature's Garden, 3 of the top, Lone Star, 3 of the top 4 fragrance oils companies. Now, there are more out there, but these are the ones that I have used, okay? So, most of them will tell you, if they basically break it down within sections. So you have spring and summer, you have fall and winter, you have foods, you have drinks, you have flowery, you have manly. These scents are either strong or soft and sweet. Alright. Now, just because one is in one category does not mean that it's not soft and sweet or manly or strong, has an up to it. So you definitely need to know your fragrance oils, because your fragrance oils is mainly the tipping point. Because when you're mixing a wax, if you buy wax from a certain company, I give you a prime example. Purchasing wax from 1617 or Wooden Wick, they basically give you a list of fragrances. How the wicks work with stuff. And when you go to Candle Science will tell you what wax, what dye, certain things like that. They're giving you suggestions, but in everything that we do, you have to test. All right, you definitely have to test. So knowing that That is part of the process. You definitely need to know what number 3 is. All right, and number 3 is you definitely need to know your wicks. All right, so with a ton of wicks on the market, people buy wicks from Amazon, people buy wicks from eBay, people buy wicks from candle sites, wooden wick, 1617 candle, long stock. All of these companies sell wicks, okay? Now the difference in wicks is you have eco wicks, you have CDN wicks, you have CD wicks, you have HTP wicks. You have all of these type of wicks. They're cotton wrapped in paper. All of these wicks, but the size of the wick really does matter because you don't want to have that mushroom. You don't want your fragrance oil to burn too fast. Your candle to burn too fast, and it throws your fragrance oil off. So you definitely have to take an accountability of the wicks that you use, the fragrance oil that you use, the wax that you use. All right, and I guarantee you will definitely have a better smelling candle. Now, with that being said, let's go on to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is let your candles cure for at least 2 weeks. Now, that's a cliche because a lot of people make candles, and your candles, people want your candles, man. They smell good. They smell terrific. I'm guilty of that. People have purchased my candles. I go to the house and make them, and then turn around, and 24 hours later, they're being sold to someone, and they come back and they want more. But if you want to get that hot throw and that cold throw, meaning if you want that lid to come off of that candle and it hasn't been lit, then you definitely want to make sure that you have a strong cold throw. Okay? And so that means that that candle has cured for more than 24 hours, 2 weeks at the most. At the most, 2 weeks. At the least, 24 hours. Okay? It's a cliche. It's definitely a cliche. You have to, you as a candle channeler, you have to know that what's the preference for you and your company. So it's more about how you do your company. I'm giving you tips that I had to figure out. I learned from Steely Handcrafters and just watching YouTube videos and understanding. And then it goes back to that favorite word that every candle maker should love, and that's testing. You don't want to put a product out there that does not work. I've tested tons of products at the house. The wife has come back and she's talked about certain things that have happened with wick holders and wick stickers and adhesive. And so I'm always testing before I put these candles out on the market. You don't want to put a bad product out there. So we discussed the melting point. All right. We discussed the fragrance oil. We discussed the pouring of the fragrance oil that was all in one, and we discussed the cure time. But last but not least, know your fragrance load. All right, you definitely need to know your fragrance load. So tip number 5 is know your fragrance load. Knowing your fragrance load will help you go a long way. Here's the reason why you need to know your fragrance load. Certain waxes smell stronger at a certain load. Now, most companies have put the maximum at 10% fragrance load. That's 10% of how much wax you have in there. So if you have 16 ounces of wax, you're making a couple candles, you have 16 ounces of wax, you have to take an accountability that you're going to need 1.6 ounces of fragrance load. So that's 10% of that wax mix. All right. So knowing that you need that amount of fragrance load, some people like to go over, some people like to go under, some people don't, because the heart and soul of each company is the fragrance oils. That's the most expensive part of a candle business, okay? But you have to understand that if you know your fragrance load, you know your cure time, You know the melt point of the wax, because that's very important. You know the pour time, and you know that fragrance oil is either a soft fragrance or a hard fragrance. Doesn't mean that it's a bad fragrance. What it's meaning is it's soft, it's flowery, floral. You know, a lot of warm fragrances. Prime example, banana nut bread will have your house, pumpkin caramel crunch will have your house smelling tremendous in the wintertime and the summertime. But people are specifically channeled to, I want this warm fragrance in the winter, I want this soft fragrance in the summer. So these are the things that you have to know being a candle channeler. So with that being said, understand this. Do your due diligence. Study your craft. The only way you're going to know if your product is worth it is if you launch. If you go out here and you discuss your product with someone. Alright? No one knows you selling the product. No one knows that they need to purchase that product. Okay? No one can come back, and the best people to tell, listen, family is good. Like my wife, her sense of smell is tremendous when it comes to fragrance loads. She's the one that gets, I'll just make a candle and go on. But she's the one that helps me with knowing that this is what this is and this is what this is. This is a warm scent. I didn't know nothing about warm and cold scents. I just knew we went to Yankee Candle and would spend a ton of money. Because I love the smell of candles, she loved the smell of candles. But then she started breaking it down to me, and I got more interested. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how that works. So family is good, but the most important people are the consumers. I'm not saying the family's not important. What I'm saying is the people who's buying your product and you want them to keep buying your product, those are the ones that you need to impress the most, all right? So with that being said, like I said, man, and I'm always going to say with that being said, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification. Because I'm telling you, we are that channel that not only discuss candle making, candle business, the marketing side of business, and I haven't even gotten into that yet. A lot of people out here making candles don't know how to market their business. We're going to talk about that in a couple more videos coming up, all right? Man, it's your man Tony from Wicked Artistry Candle Co. I'm sorry. It's your man Tony from Wicked Artistry Candle Co. We about to get out of here Sunday. Got dinner to finish up, all right? All right, y'all, man. I'm going to see y'all when I see y'all, man. Peace.